So, as the David Coote debacle rages on, I wanted to take a step back and look at the bigger picture of what's going on here. Because make no mistake, David Coote is in trouble, but the PGMOL is in major trouble as well. Because this is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. But before I get to Coote and the PGMOL, I just wanted to talk about the past and the present, which both involve one certain Webb, MBE, the chief refereeing officer of the PGMOL. And there's a reason I'm starting with him, because when I look back at my time as a football fan, who is the first referee what I had serious doubts about? One that I decided when he was on the pitch I didn't trust. And the first one I can remember having this extreme feeling about is Webb and all of his pro-Man United decisions that he gave on a consistent basis back in the day. It wasn't just me thinking that, but when you've got people all over the country all coming to the same conclusion that Webb has a pro-Man United bias, there's something to it. In fact, he decided in his autobiography that he needed to address it. And he said, contrary to popular opinion, I never shared a bed with Alex Ferguson. There's no statue of me outside Old Trafford. My kids are not called Rio, Wayne or Cristiano. And there's no Red Devils tattoo on my left buttock. So why did he have to explain himself? Why did he have to come out with all that? Because there was a massive opinion that he was biased. Webb, to me, has always been shady. Always. Every time I've seen him, when he was on the field, when I've seen him interviewed, now when I see him trying to give explanations, he's just shady. Everything about him, you know, when you meet people or you see people and you just automatically don't trust them, he's one of them. In my opinion, there's only three reasons. He's either corrupt, or he's a very poor decision maker, or he's really, really poor at his job. Let's eliminate corrupt, because I just said it's not been proven. So what you're left with is he's either a very poor decision maker or he's incompetent, right? So what did he do? They give him the top job at the PGMOL. Now, have you ever had a boss that's incompetent, that is useless, is incapable, can't do the job? I have. I'm sure many of you watching this have had the same as well. What happens when you have someone in charge who is incompetent, useless? What you get is turmoil. You get turmoil, you get disorganisation, you get incompetence throughout the team. Things go to shit. Things fall apart. And it's a mess. And then, what I've always found with these people who are incompetent, and they have to cover it up somehow, so they lie. They lie about it. What have we got with this fella in charge of the PGMOL? We've had the implementation of VAR, which has been a complete and utter disaster. And as far as I know, it's been a bigger disaster in England than anywhere else. I've never heard or seen anything to the level of chaos and incompetence as we have seen in the English Premier League. And then you've got a massive amount, again, that you've not seen in other countries, of incomprehensible, inexplicable big errors. And I know I mentioned these in the previous video, but we're just going through a few of them again and add a couple more. But the Rodri handball against Everton, the Grealish handball against Chelsea, the Odegaard handball against Liverpool, the Diaz goal that was disallowed because the VAR and the referee couldn't get their act together. Even though they both knew it was a perfectly good goal, they still managed to disallow it. The Kovacic non-red card when he had one red card and a yellow card offence and ended up staying on the pitch. Salah waved away, no red card when he's taken down from behind. Look what happened to Wolves last year. Onana assaulted the goalkeeper, nothing given. But Wolves had about 4 or 5 of them, maybe more. You watch it every week and you feel helpless. It's depressing watching the level of incompetence of these referees. You've got people who are just genuinely very, very bad or biased or incompetent or corrupt or whatever, like Paul Tini and David Coote. And then you've got good referees like Michael Oliver, who has regressed to the point of joining them. He's been absolutely atrocious, given inexplicable decisions. I would go as far to say that English referees are considered the worst in the world. At least the worst in the big leagues in the world anyway. VAR in England is considered the biggest cock-up of anywhere. It's not to the level of chaos in any other country that you see in England. And this is all under the leadership of Howard Webb. So let's go on to David Coote. And I'm not going to talk too much about all the allegations. We know the allegations. What I'm interested in is not whether or not they can dig up more dirt. How long have they known? This is the big issue here. I want to know how long they've known, because if it was any more than a couple of days, then they are complicit. If they knew, even a week before, why was he refereeing the Liverpool versus Aston Villa game? If they knew months before, then it's just a cover-up. Xenophobia and hate speech is a sackable offence. And the minute it came out, when we all got to know about it, he's suspended immediately. So if they knew about it earlier, why didn't they suspend him? If this latest allegation of him possibly, and we don't know yet, but using drugs, how long have they known? I want to know, is there being a systemic cover-up? Not going overboard, because we as Liverpool fans know what it's like to be involved in a massive cover-up. And outside of that, take a look at the post office horizon cover-up. For those of you outside the UK and Ireland, if you haven't heard of it, look it up. It will blow your mind. So England has a history of this, and it would not surprise me at all if this secret PGMOL organisation, who you never hear from, who are a closed shop, have got some sort of cover-up. So what can we do? This is what I think needs to happen. There has to be a complete and thorough independent investigation of the PGMOL by an independent tribunal. There can be nobody involved from the PGMOL or the FA or the Premier League or any other body that's got a vested interest in this. It's got to be independent. I saw the other day when Coote was found to be involved in this video that the PGMOL are investigating. Oh, are they? Yeah, that's going to breed trust, isn't it? If you come out with an investigation that says X, Y, and Z, I won't believe it, because I don't trust you. Because nothing you have done has made me want to trust you. And then this independent tribunal, they've got to be given full access to all aspects of the ongoings at the PGMOL. All the record keeping, the emails, the texts, the reports, the minutes, everything. They need to just be let in and let loose to see what is going on. And then, when they've put together a report on all of their findings, it needs to be full public disclosure of what they find. That has to happen. Because there's no way on earth, from this point on, if nothing changes, that any of us are ever going to trust these people again. And I'm not just talking about Liverpool fans here, I'm talking about all of us. They can't be trusted. So why would they not agree to this? If you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. So get an independent body in. They can help you. If you've got nothing to hide, if everything's above board, fine. Then at least that tribunal can tell the public, look, we looked into all of this, but only if it's done by a completely unbiased, non-corrupt, competent, capable, independent body. The second thing that needs to happen, irrespective of the first thing, is they need to do what's called a gap analysis. They need to do an analysis of looking at all aspects of the workings of the PGMOL. They need to identify all the gaps that they find, the gaps in training, the gaps in the rollout of VAR and the current use of VAR, the potential bias of referees, the decision making, how they calibrate referees, etc., etc. They need to do all of that and then put a plan together to work on all those gaps, to improve all the aspects that are wrong, because as we know, these gaps are horrendous and they're ruining the game. So PGMOL, you have to do this. If you want credibility, if you want to eliminate the mistrust that everyone's got, you've got to do these things. If any referees are found out to be corrupt or biased, so be it. That's how it goes, and you'll have to get rid of them. If there is a systemic cover-up that has been identified, then it needs to be admitted. You've got to stop the rot, and you've got to eliminate the rot. Only then can we get to a point of moving forward from where we are today. You need a plan to become an ethical, moral, highly functioning, highly respected organisation. And you know what? That's all we want. We want to be able to look at our referees, our officials, and we don't want to have to look and say, oh shit, he's refereeing us today. Because that's what we've got right now. We don't want, at the end of a game, to be sitting here fuming because inexplicable errors have been made by officials who walk off with no accountability whatsoever into this closed shop, this secret organisation that we're all on the outside of. So all I can hope is that someone somewhere in this PGMOL is actually calling everyone together right now and saying, you know what, we are in deep shit and we are going to have to do radical things to get back to public trust and get back to playing an important and essential part in this game instead of ruining it. You'll never walk alone. See you soon to that.